Okay, so today I'm going to be unboxing a Netgear 8-port Gigabit Ethernet switch, and the reason for using a switch like this is that most people already have a router if they're doing internet connection sharing, which normally includes a 4-port switch. But 4 ports isn't always enough for all of the computers and other devices in the house. For example, in my house, we've got 4 desktop computers, media PC, any number of laptops, as well as a home server. So by that point, you're connecting potentially as many as 6 to 8 devices by wired Ethernet. So what that means is that you can use a switch in order to split the connection out to a bunch of different computers. So I have one cable going over power line into another room where it goes into a gigabit switch, just like this one, and then splits out to 4 different computers within that room. It's a very convenient way to network, and it also allows you to take advantage of full gigabit speeds between any computers that are connected to the gigabit switch without upgrading your router. So without further ado, why don't we start getting this switch open here, and I'll talk a little bit more about it. This is a trend that we're seeing quite a bit of lately, actually, and I want to open the plastic first and then talk more about the product later. There we go. Okay, and that is this green movement here. So most of the switch guys are coming out with green models of their switches, and what that means is that they consume less power, because a switch is intended to be an always-on device. You never really want to have to go and manually turn on your network switch when you want to transfer a file between a computer or like set up an internet connection, right? So a switch is always on. So the reason for these green switches is that it'll use less power. Okay, I've talked way too much about that at this point. All right, here's what we have included. You have a Netgear installation guide. So they estimate that it'll take about 5 to 10 minutes to set up. They show you where to plug things in. Awesome. Okay, thank you, Netgear. Okay, then you have a warranty and support information card to register your warranty. All right, and then you have the switch itself, but let's have a look at the accessories first. Not a whole lot in terms of accessories. So you've got a wall wart, or a power brick, or whatever you want to call it, AC to DC adapter. Then you have a stand. That was it. That was all. And normally I'd expect a product like this to include an Ethernet cable, but maybe that's part of their green initiative, is that they're not including an Ethernet cable, because I don't know about you, but I already have like 1,000,001 Ethernet cables, and if I'm buying an 8-port gigabit switch, I probably already have an Ethernet cable. Okay, so let's take off this little plastic cover. There we go. And the unit actually feels quite heavy and solidly built, which is always kind of nice, because when you buy something and it feels like there's nothing to it, it's not usually quite as satisfying. So why don't we have a look at the side of the unit to start. So you can see that it is compatible with 10, 100, and 1000 megabit per second. Okay, so that means you can get, in real life transfers, actually on mine, I get up to about 90 megabytes per second between my computer and my home server. So it makes for very, very quick file transfers over the network. Okay, there's your branding, there's a power light that turns on when you plug it in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. These will light up in accordance to which plugs are plugged in at the back. Then around to the other side, there is nothing. On the top, you've got some Netgear branding. On the bottom, you have a diagram. That's a very handy diagram. And it also gives you a color code. So blinking means you've got activity on a particular port. If the LAN is green, that means you're connected at 1 gigabit per second. And if it's yellow in the light here, that means you're connected at either 10 or 100 megabit per second. That's kind of a useful feature to have. Anyway, thank you for checking out my unboxing of the Netgear Green Gigabit switch. Yeah, so the cameraman raged at me because I never showed the back. I never actually showed the business end of the switch. These are the ports where you plug in your Ethernet cables, so up to 8. Normally the way you'd configure it is coming off your router, you'd plug into one of the ports, and then that can split that router connection out to 7 additional computers as well. There is your power plug. Thank you for checking out my unboxing of the Netgear Gigabit switch.